I'm Deanna Stanley, and I'm an associate producer.
I'm Christian. I'm a game deployment specialist.
I'm Katrina Parker, and I'm a game deployment coordinator.
I'm Amélie Bernard, I'm game deployment coordinator. Basically, with the closing team / the game deployment team, we're working with the production to make sure that our goals and the production's goal aligns to ship the best version possible for the players. We rely every information from the live, any live feedback to the production and make sure that like when we're set on a goal to ship something, we ship it good.
Just the point of working together on the same scope as the whole production worldwide and all the teams, we try to push on what they want to do and how they want to release, and we just try to help and get all our forces together towards that specific level of quality and that specific release that they want to do.
The build the game is different at any given point in the production. We could have a really great build one day, very stable, and then the next day, like the day that we might need to actually secure and close off the build, we could end up with like loads of issues, and we have to crack down and make sure we can get something ready to close off that build and get something ready that's a good quality to ship.
Yes, the controlled chaos.
Yeah.
So like every build that goes through, or every build that the players see live goes through this team, whether it's on the test server, whether it's through a reveal with people we collaborate with, like content creators and such, or whether it's the actual season and patch updates and the hotfixes.
I see it more like external builds and internal builds. Like external builds, what we send to the player is half of the work we do. Like we do the client releases, the game servers, patches and stuff like that. But we also have the internal ones, which are also a big part of our job, like the marketing builds, the internal testing for QC, the builds that we send for different tests with user research and so on. So we release very few of them to the public, and some of them the public never sees actually, because those are specific for business needs, marketing, and different internal teams that need to assess the build or actually create specific assets.
So we can address different issues like for different parts of the build. So we can address the build itself, like the full client, or we can do something directly on the game server. We can do something with a data add-on, and what this means is that everything can be addressed in a different way, or sometimes not at all. So depending on what we're fixing, the way that we're able to fix it is something that we have to take into account with sending it to the players. The first build that we secure is usually not the one that goes live as well, so we usually need a few days to balance like regressions, when fixes go wrong, or when we need like more robust fixes. So it usually takes a couple of days, sometimes not, but.
A big part of what we do is based around quality and stability, and like we try to level the playing field as we go towards the MC and try to keep everything stable. But during the master candidate, we try to push on the devs to have the lowest amount of risk put inside the build.
Maybe a week or two before we cut a build. When I say cut, it's before we create the master candidate. We talk with our testing team in Bucharest and in Montreal to check what are you, according to you, the risk with this release. And often they send us a bunch of lists, bunch of issues, bunch of problems that the build have. And at that point, we gather those issues, the major ones, and we talk with the production team and we check with them, okay, what's possible for this release? And if those issues are not possible for this release, when is the next one that is possible for them?
Every season we basically have multiple types of releases. We have the season launch, we have patches, and we sometimes, unfortunately, have hotfixes. So taking it all into account, we also need to talk about how many platforms we have to release on.
Right now, we are releasing on 7 platforms, which are PC, Luna, Stadia, Xbox Series X, Xbox One, PS4, and PS5.
With our season, all of our patches, any emergency builds that are going on the test server in a season period, we have about 40 to 50 builds that are going live to the public in one way or another.
That's the live builds, and then the offline builds for the esports, marketing events, the trailers that you see for the season reveal. The early access events, that's about, per season, it's about 5 or 6 in the, just up towards the season launch. And after that, 3 to 4 builds, so there's quite a lot that we push out on top of all our other tasks for securing the live builds.
Internally too, we have to make builds every single day that have to send to QC. We have specific builds that need to be made on specific dates that have specific amounts of some kind of feature in development. So those are done on a daily basis too.
Every day, we start our day where we sync together to see what are the current live topics.
We make sure that all the stakeholders are there, so everyone, or at least someone representing esports, someone representing marketing, someone representing QC, the closing team, the teams that are doing the actual deployments, a lot of different people on the team to make sure they're all in the same room and look together at absolutely anything that happened the day before. It can be, like you mentioned, it can be stuff that happened live, it can be bugs or exploits, it can also be stuff that has nothing to do with us. It can be an update that happened from an external third party that we use in some way, shape, or form in our game. It can be a train that derailed and hit a data center. It can be something that's happening in the world that makes us not want to push any updates or change our plans. So that's the first kind of step of the day. And if there's an emergency that needs to be fixed, it's the closing team that figures out if we can fix it or not. We have like a million different teams who immediately jump on doing something differently as well. Like our QC teams jump on reproducing it internally. We have like a strike team of devs who will actually be able to be the ones who fix the issue. We have people on the communications side who need to see if we need to halt any communications. We have people on the esports side who need to see if there's any ongoing esports that where are we going to find our deployment window if we can eventually fix this, and all of that needs to be done at the exact same time.
It's a very fine-tuned kind of situation, finding the exact spot where can we assume to fix this, and then can we actually release the fix.
I think we had like 3 months ago a different version for Xbox just because there was an issue on Xbox specifically, and like it was found on the last day on DMC, so we had to contact compliance, have like 1 more day for submitting the build just to fix that platform. And like the other, we were able to like move forward with compliance, but like sometimes it's like trying to like negotiate with our external parties to have a bit more time.
PC is the only platform we control. So for other first parties that we work with, we have to work by their compliance rules, and it's different for each one. So some of them work on the weekends, some of them don't work on the weekends, some of them close early for holidays, like depending on where they are in the world too.
Yeah, and the way they work in terms of like how much testing they want to do on each specific patch or build that we want to release is different. Some take 2 days, some take 5, some take 0. And there's also the point of like some platforms like PS4, PS5, and Xbox One, and Xbox Series S and X, they have cross-generation, so people from PS4 can play with PS5, so we need to make sure that they are able to play before we release and also after we release.
For us, since we're a live game, since we never turn off, since we have like a bunch of players playing at any given time around the world, fixing something, whether it's something long-term like a system that we need to improve, or just fixing a bug, is like trying to change a tire on a car while it's driving. We can't stop. It would take 2 seconds to fix, but we have to figure out how to do it while we're still live.